The interviewer is Christian Wright. Today is October 20th, 2020, and we are at the Camden Carroll Library. If you could please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm David Gregory. I'm the Dean of the Library here at Morehead State University.
And, sir, how long have you worked for the library and the university?
I have been in this position for the last 10 years. I came 10 years ago.
And, do you live in Morehead or in the surrounding area?
I do live in Morehead.
And, now we'll get into some COVID-oriented questions. When were you first made aware of the coronavirus, and what were your thoughts when you heard about it?
Became aware of it probably as much of everyone else did when it really hit in the United States, and particularly we began to hear from federal officials and so forth, but then very quickly we started hearing it from more locally and in the state, and with the governor putting on sanctions and so forth for to keep coronavirus from getting really rampant early on.
And during those kind of early days when we really didn't know anything about the virus, what was life kind of like with all those snap decisions and rapid information that was coming in?
Well, much of the information was telling us how to stay safe, how to avoid coming in contact with coronavirus, but it was also how to keep yourself safe. And we began working. The administration contacted us and told us what was going on, and we began working on plans, particularly plans for all the employees and how they would be expected to be treated, and if they were expected to be here at work and so forth. There were regulations and guidelines put down for people, for instance, who have health issues and or immune deficiencies, and there were guidelines on how many people should be in the building and how close together they should be, and there are also very thoughtfully we thought about those people who have children at home and needed to be home for them because the schools closed, and so many different ways. There were so many decisions to be made very quickly, and the provost at the time and I, he worked with me on the library portion of that. Of course, he was working with other entities as well, and we worked as diligently as we could to be as safe as we could. We closed down. The library actually closed down altogether. It was not open for anyone other than people who worked here for some time, until we got a good handle on how we would open again and start allowing people to get materials. The one thing that we did do is that even though we were closed, we began delivering materials mostly from people who would come to the back, pull up, we'd take it out to them. There were sometimes that we would mail it, but we had to make those decisions as well. And then how we were going to handle materials that came back in, because they could have the coronavirus actually on them, and so we did safety precautions for that as well.
And just moving forward to now, and obviously you guys had to make some safety precautions for students coming back into the library this semester. What are some of the things the library had to do to open back up for students?
All right. Yes, we had to make sure that everyone was going to stay safe, and that's the most important thing. and I think the university as a whole, that has been the most important thing, is to keep students safe, keep the people who work here safe. Um, we actually decided that we would require masks to be worn by everyone when they are, and all students have to wear masks. Our our employees wear masks if they are out in the public area. If they are in their own personal offices, that's okay. But students, we have asked and continue to ask that they wear masks to make sure that they do not come in contact with the coronavirus. That is, as far as I understand, is the biggest deterrent for people getting it, is just to be safe and keep from the coronavirus getting into the system.
Yes, sir.
We also, let me also say that we did make some changes in how we would work, and that is we closed the stacks, the main stacks, so that only library people could go into those stacks, because they're very close together, and we knew that if people who many people were in there, that there was more of a chance of people being in contact with someone who had it. But we also then made plans on how we would allow students to come in, where we would allow them to go, how we would keep the building clean, all those decisions, and we continue to look at that to make sure that we are keeping the students and the workers here safe.
And I know there were rumors of, with us heading into winter, some people thought the virus might have a resurgence. Has the library had to make any extra precautions, or we just keep the ship steady?
So far, we are keeping the ship steady. I think we're going to know more about that as we move forward as a country and as a state. And for the longest time, our county was actually free of the coronavirus, but then it did finally come in, and we've had several cases, and so we have to be very careful about that.
And has the pandemic changed how you use technology at all?
We're using much more technology. Especially when we closed the library, people could not get into the library except and ways that we either sent materials or we use technology to provide that. We have beefed up our offerings online, and we are continuing to find newer resources. We've worked harder to find more streaming media because classes have needed that, particularly in the beginning. They needed that very much because it was a very quick turnaround, and we were working very quickly to get information sources so that the professors could use those in their classes. And so, yes, we have shifted our emphasis, and we are looking at more online materials rather than books and so forth. We're buying books online and other resources online, as well as streaming.
And has the coronavirus affected you or your family at all?
My family and I have not had coronavirus directly, but we have known, had several friends and also family members outside our immediate family who have experienced it, and we have lost some friends because of it.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Definitely. Never an easy thing to happen,
No.
especially during these times. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss or add?
No, I think that I will say that I believe that my staff have worked diligently and have uh, been willing to do nearly anything they could to help the students, to help the faculty, and they've been a great resource. And the administration has really helped us as well to make sure that we are safe, and I appreciate that as well.
Thank you for your time, sir.
All right.